Hello everyone, I was able to get an interview with the Vice President for Administration and Finance and the Police Chief at Kansas State. I'm going to let you know a little bit about what they said and see, and I'll give you my response on this policy. Alright, just to highlight some things before we get started. There is online training available from K-State. It's on their police department page, and it's under the weapons policy. I highly recommend you take it. I also highly recommend that you watch their open forum, because it goes into their history and how much time they spent actually developing this policy. So a few things that guided this policy and how it was made. They had over 100 people get involved in it. These were teachers, students, faculty, staff, and Kansas State law enforcement. They're local law enforcement. Now notice how I said that there was not like a firearms instructor or stuff like that. It was open to everyone. They could have done it, so it's really, if you're gonna get upset about the policy like around the chamber thing, then and you're around the area when they're making this, then that's on you. Okay? So definitely go out and seek out that training that's on their website. It goes over this policy very well. Alright. So over 100 people, it took about a year to do, and this is how it happened. They got all the colleges together, they set up a base policy, and then the schools separated, and they either made the policy stricter or less strict. For example, KU super strict, Fort Hays State, carry all the guns you want. K-State's right in the middle. So there's going to be a few things that guided this policy and what they had to say. They had to stay within the law, and they had to stay within the Board of Regents guidelines and their policy. So the law, they couldn't make it any more stringent on it than the law, and they couldn't break the policy. So that's kind of how we got this policy right here. And it's a good policy for what it does and what it's designed for and who it's designed for. This policy is designed for people who have very little firearms training. They want to carry to protect themselves on campus. They may not know the best way of doing it, but this outlines a way of doing it in a safe manner. Okay? So, a little bit of history. The chief, he's been in law enforcement for 40 years. Cindy Von Traeger, the Vice President for Administration and Finance, she has been at K-State. She's been around firearms her entire life. She loves firearms. She's pro-gun, but they had to stay within all these policies and make everyone happy. Alright, now, the specific things that we went over, I did not talk about the introduction because I had no problems with it. The definitions, had no problems with those ones either. And then for school sanctioned events, I asked them about that, and it's like for the trap team when they go out and go shooting. And then it got to the carrying and storing of handguns, where I did have a few questions and how some of these got in here. So, nothing in this policy shall be interpreted to require individuals who lawfully possess a handgun to use it in defense of others. Now, this was put in there, they told me, to prevent people going out and becoming a hero, pretty much. Dumbing down the hero mentality. I didn't want people going across campus, across buildings to go stop the fight, stop the attacker. And I can't put in other words than like what Tom Givens said. I'm going to paraphrase it. He's like, if people were really worried about their own self-defense and you feel like that you should defend them, then they should have been having their own gun and being able to defend themselves. Alright. And then keep it stored in an approved location by this university. There's no other approved locations in the university other than in your dorm rooms, in your vehicle, or on your person. And then it goes into completely concealed. There is accidental printing and stuff like that. That's in the training. That's not brandishing or open carrying. Okay? The training goes over what is open carry, what's concealed carry, what's accidental printing, and so on. Alright, and then we get into a suitable container such as a backpack, purse, handbag, or any other carrier designed and intended to carry an individual's personal items. I feel like this policy would have been a lot better if they put in there that you need a specific holster. You need a holster for your firearm. They just say carrier, which it's designed for us to say a holster, but it doesn't actually say it. Alright, so So I asked him, so the purse bag and stuff, if it's an actual like gun purse, right, where there's a gun pouch for it, does that firearm need to be in a holster or not? Because it's in the gun purse, which would be your holster. The chief said it needs to be in a holster. No ifs, ands, or buts. It needs to be in a holster. So even if you have a gun purse with that one pouch that you can grab your firearm out of, it needs to be in a holster that has a significant retention on it to prevent the firearm from coming out while jostling. Now this gets into another discussion on what type of holsters. In their training, they show you 4 different types of holsters. One's a leather holster with the trigger guard completely exposed. The other one's a Black Hawk Serpa holster, and the other one's a Uncle Mike's holster, and then I think the other one is just a bag, like a plastic bag or something like that. They have red X's all over this thing. The only one that's good to go is the Black Hawk Serpa holster. It has a green check mark. The Uncle Mike's one, which is just the neoprene pouches that are super cheap and are a horrible, horrible, horrible holster anyways, is not approved. Okay? So, even if your bag is designed to hold your firearm in a secured pouch, it still needs to be in a holster. Alright. And then we get into external hammer must be in the uncocked position. I'm like, so sir, there's a 1911, if it's uncocked, then you can't have the safety on. And then he's told me that's why we have the round out of the chamber, so there's no way your firearm can go off. Take a breath. Just take a breath. And try to take emotions out of this and just think logically. This policy is for people who have just gotten the right to carry a firearm. Their first day of being 21, they have not taken any training because the state of Kansas doesn't require it. But they want to carry, so they're going to carry. Just think about it. Someone who's never had training, they need to know how to carry, and they'll read this policy and not break the policy. Alright, that's why that's in there. Because if the hammer's down on an empty chamber, then obviously, no shit, you can't put on your safety. Now, but that's why there's an empty chamber. Now, if you have a 226, hammer down, no manual safety, on an empty chamber, it's not going to go off. I know it goes against best practices in the industry. Nothing more than what I wanted to do was make a parody video about me unloading and reloading my gun 6 to 8 times throughout the day, just to make a point of how bad that is. But then you think about it without getting emotions, without trying to overthink it, and find out why it is in there. It is there to prevent someone who has very little training but wants to carry from shooting themselves or having a negligent discharge or a accidental discharge. Even though accidents aren't real, it's a problem with the firearm and you actually pulled the trigger. 6-hour P320, that was a problem with the firearm. It was a defective firearm that they rushed out to the public and then had to cover their butts and like, oh, my bad, we gave you guys a bomb that will go off if you drop it. It's to prevent that, okay? That's why that's in there. Okay, so then we get into storage containers, and I was kind of wondering. I was wondering why this was in there. Well, I know why it's in there, but why it's put the way it is. So, devices secured exclusively with a key lock are prohibited. I asked him about that, and he was like, the reason why we have that in there is because keys can be copied, or you can buy spares and lose them. And we wanted the safes to be large enough to where they were permanent inside the building, inside the dorm rooms. Not like permanent because that's where they're living and they can remove them, but they didn't want like little cheap lock boxes like the size of this. You can put like one firearm in here, maybe a little bit bigger. They didn't want those because if you leave your dorm room and someone comes in like while you're in the shower, they can take that and now they have your firearm and it's in a box, but they can get into that. So they wanted to make it to where you had to get a large safe to where there's a combination on it that you would only know, and that's it. So, and that's all in the housing contract and everything like that. So that's why that policy is in there. Alright, and then it gets into your ammunition. You don't need a separate one, you can put it all in the same safe. So then reporting and temporary actions. So just to let you know how bad off carry is, this is a story about how the first violation of this policy and the only infraction of this policy has ever been reported to K-State in the last 2 years. Okay, parent comes in with her purse and her gun in her purse, right? They go eat at the Union, and oh my God, the worst thing happens. She left her purse and her firearm in the Union, and like left the entire university. Like walked to her car and everything. Worker cleaning up the tables finds purse. Opens purse to find wallet to contact person who may have left it. Opens purse, sees gun. Big no-no. Gun in purse, not in holster. Infractions of this policy, right? Person does this. Does this exact thing. All reports of suspected violation of the concealed carry policy are made to the University Police Department. So they call the police department. Police department comes in. Oh, that's purse with gun in it. Thank you. Call the person. Hey, we have a gun in your purse. Oh, crap, I forgot it. Here's your stuff back. Please don't do that again. That's what I think happened. I don't know the rest of the story. I just know what that infraction. That's a -1 if you want to carry off your body. There's better options to do it, but that's their only thing that's ever happened at K-State that violated this policy. Now that being said, if you have training and you know that carrying it with around out of the chamber and stuff like that is not with the best practices of firearms defense, I'm just letting you know that that's the only infraction, and that's because someone left their firearm unattended, which goes against several parts of this policy. You can simply, do what you want. Anyways, those were the main questions I had for the policy. After they explained to me like what the policy is designed for and who it's designed for, it made it a lot more sense. This policy is for the lowest denominator. The person who has had no training, grew up around guns but wants to carry. They're going to carry, but they're not going to break the policy, so they're going to read this policy and they're going to be safe and not shoot themselves or other people. Everything is in this policy. If you have questions about the policy, it's right here, number 8. University Police Department or the Vice President for Administration and Finance. For training, there is an online training. I highly recommend that you go do it, and you seek out other forms of training. Kansas Conceal Carry does a great job of teaching you when you can defend yourself, but it does a terrible job of teaching you how to defend yourself. So I take Conceal Carry and a personal defense class, like one that my company offers, Mayday Training LLC. We have a course coming up August 3rd. Just hit the like and share button and follow us on Facebook. I'll have everything linked in the description below. Another thing, thank you very much to Chief Ronnie Grice, Chief Ronnie Grice and Miss Cindy Von Traeger for actually being able to do the interview with me. You guys really opened up my eyes. I want to make this policy easier for people to get a hold of and to know about, and that's what this whole video is about. If you guys have any questions, please contact them. They're very knowledgeable and they know what they're doing. Have a great day, keep training, and thank you for watching.